Yeah, so imagine this, right? It's like, oh, well, weapons are only for the advanced students, right? So you have to do just empty hands. Who says that your brain can't handle more? When you're in school, right, you only do one subject?
No.
Even when you're in like elementary school,
like six
you do a ton of,
yeah.
you do a ton of subjects, right? Okay, so it's the same thing in my martial art approach, right? But it's guided by this. You got to be skilled in empty hands, and you got to be skilled in weaponry.
Yeah.
Because those are the only two areas of martial art training that exist. Doesn't matter what the art is, what the style is, or whatever. There's only two areas.
Well, we were just talking about too. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago about how the patterns. There may be different styles and stuff, but I mean the patterns are there. Like there's only 360 ways your body can move, or 360. You know what I'm saying? You'll probably explain it better than I will.
Well, but no, because so in 1985, I think it was. So now I have 2 years in with Inasano, right? And
1985.
1985. So
I was born in 1987.
Okay. Right. So now I have 2 years in with him, and down in Barbados, they had this this big martial arts exposition, right? So
you got a shout out, by the way, from Jose. Man, I'm so sorry I may screw up your last name, but shout out to Sifu Dwight Woods. Sifu Woods.
From Jose.
Jose. Baella? He got a story about you.
Yeah,
he's running through it in his head right now. He's like, I remember this person.
Yeah, he wears glasses.
Pound the like if he's right.
Yeah.
Pound the like if he's right.
Jose Baella. I wonder if he still lives in Miami. He trained on the Kendall Drive School at 127th Avenue.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's where I trained at, man. Long time ago. That's right. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
But did you train on Kendall Drive on 127th?
Comment yes.
Let's see if he answers.
Or no. If that's the case. Yeah. I am in Jacksonville now. Oh, no way.
No,
that's
wow.
funny.
What is fun? But that's true. You know what? Now I remember, because he did get in touch with me at one point. I think actually when Sifu Dan goes to Jacksonville, I think he showed up at a seminar once, if I remember correctly.
That's right, yeah.
Sorry, Jose, if I'm messing this up. It's been a long time and a lot of people.
He said yes. That's awesome. Okay. That's awesome.
Right? Yeah. So I was telling you about 1985. So we have this martial arts exposition. So representatives from every style, every art that's on the island show up. So the Shotokan group, they were kind of like the organizers of the whole thing.
Right.
So they had like the biggest group, right?
Yeah.
In the 1980s, I was more of a dick than I am now. Right?
To put it nicely.
Yeah, right. Because JKD was kind of like, it's
rebellious.
Yeah. Right. So anyhow, so they're lining up to start the show. And the guy is coming down the line, and he's going, "What Dan are you? What Dan are you?" Right? So it's like, because he doesn't want to put a second Dan in front of a third Dan or whatever, right? So he gets to me. He goes, "What Dan are you?" I go, "Dan." He goes, "Yeah, what Dan are you?" I go, "No, I'm Dwight. Dan is my teacher." He goes, "What?" I go, "Don't worry, I'll just go at the back of the line." Right? So then he comes round again, because now they only want the heads of the groups to go up, right? Well, my group is me and my training partner, Glenn.
Right.
So he goes, "Well, who's the head?" I go, "Well, I'm the head, but he's the brain." Right? He's like, "What?" I go, "Don't worry.
Don't worry about this. Don't worry. Us JKD guys,
right?
We're a little weird."
Right? So I mean, even to this day, like if we do it, like if somebody was to ask us to do a demonstration or something, right?
Yeah.
We do not rehearse.
Right.
Right.
Just go.
Yeah. Even when a bunch of us got the gig for Only the Strong. You remember?
I do remember Only the Strong.
Yeah.
I remember doing you were doing the Kali then.
Yeah.
In the middle of the fire.
You were probably 5 years old when
that was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Only the Strong, guys.
You try to take a look at like 1993.
Mark Dacascos.
Mark Dacascos. Yeah. Good
it's
guy.
like a capoeira movie, but the coolest part is when he does.
Yeah, it's when we do our stuff. Right. What was I telling you?
I don't know, but Jose says you're awesome.
All right.
But yeah, you guys went to the back of the line, or you just go.
Yeah. So I'm watching everybody, right? So like they got like 10 people in their demo team. So they have a guy on the microphone who's announcing what you're gonna see next. And I'm just going, how the hell am I gonna do this?
Yeah.
Right? So now it's my turn. So I go on the mic and I introduce him, and I'm thinking, okay, so I gotta go on the mic, then run down and demonstrate, come back to the mic, and I go, wham! I drop the mic on the floor and jump off the stage right in front of the audience, right? And I go, can everybody hear me okay? And we start the demo.
That's cool.
Right? So this is what I do. I can see there's like 5 different groups from different schools, right? So I go, what do you guys call this block? High block. What do you guys call this block? Head block. What do you guys call this block? Upper block. What do you call this? Upward block. What do you call it? Jodanuke, Ageuke, whatever, right? I go, same technique. Y'all are all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I made no friends. Right?
Yeah.
Because one, there's the argument about whose style is better than whose style, right? What art is better. Everybody's doing the same thing. But nobody stops to analyze whether or not, against a punch to the head, is this
most effective.
the most effective way to defend?
Right.
You see?
No one's doing it.
Right? So I didn't make that. Actually, I shouldn't say I didn't make any friends. I got one student out of that. A guy named Wayne Quinton.
Oh wow! Yeah.
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 So Wayne has been with me non-stop, right?
That's incredible.
For how much is 85 to
over 30 years, 32, 33 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's a long time.
Right? And Wayne actually pulled off something in Barbados. I'm very proud of him because if I have it correctly, he became the first full-time professional martial artist.
Oh wow!
In Barbados. First person to make a living. Right?
That's huge.
I don't know that I would have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't learn anything about the business of martial art until many years later.
That's actually a good transition because Alan Morse, he's actually in the Facebook group as well, in the I Love Jeet Kune Do group, and he asked a question about how do you, if you've got a small group or a school or something, how do you keep retention? How do you keep people coming back in? Right? Sometimes it's like, I know when I used to in my school, some of that was hard. I mean, sometimes if you overtrain them, it's too much. If you undertrain them, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the perfect line.
Well, it's difficult, right? Because you're always seeking that balance, right? Because, like with kids, one of the things you never hope to hear from the parents of one of your kid students is, I don't want to go anymore because they keep making me do the same thing over and over again, which is very common, right? So one of my early lessons for in the business of martial art was I heard the phrase that the traditional and karate and taekwondo people would use, and it was disguise the repetition.
Yes, I use that too, actually.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I go, why do I have to disguise the repetition? If I'm trying to teach people that repetition is the mother of skill, then if they're not willing to accept that, but that's how stubborn I am.
They can just take a hike.
Yeah, right? That's how stubborn I am. But then I realized that in Jeet Kune Do, there are myriad ways to disguise the repetition.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a story. This is in it's in one of Sifu Dan's Jeet Kune Do books. It's either in it's probably in the book Absorb What Is Useful. Sometimes I feel sorry for guys like you who can't. Yeah, because now for you to get a copy of Absorb What Is Useful, you might have to pay $200.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I could not find my July 1988 Inside Kung Fu magazine. I couldn't find it. It's the one where there's a page where it depicts Bruce Lee's rank and systems.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You guys can check that out on the fan page. I actually posted that up there not too long, like a couple days ago.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't find my original copy.
Yeah.
So I bought a second copy, right? Just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
The newsstand price in 1988 was like $3.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $25 for it.
Oh wow!
Right? But it's the same thing with Insano's books. I mean, if you can find them, if you're lucky enough to find them,
Yeah.
right, you're gonna pay a couple of $100 for because they're they're out of print.
Yeah, of
right?
course,
What
yeah.
have you. But anyhow, what I was telling you is that he talks in there about a kid who came to his class and he was complaining at the end of the class that that they were doing too much,
Yeah.
right? So Inosano says to him, well, what do you think we did? He goes, oh, we did this technique and this technique. He lists like 5 different techniques, right? And Inosano says to himself, he didn't get it. We were practicing footwork.
Oh man!
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, but if you think about it,
Right.
So if I want you to practice push shuffle,
Right.
right? I can have you push shuffle and hit with the jab. I can have you push shuffle and hit with the low jab. I can have you push shuffle and hit with the hook, right? Hit with the body hook.
Yeah.
I can have you push shuffle and stop hitting with the lead hand, push shuffle and hit with the rear hand, right? And we're
Yeah.
but
But you're still push shuffling is the
but push shuffle is what we're doing.
exactly.
But so we don't have to necessarily use the term disguise the repetition. But I'll tell you why I think in the old days, everything's probably very different now.
Yeah. You never know.
I remember when I first sat down and came up with a curriculum for my school.
Do you think a lot of JKD guys do that, or they shoot from the hip?
Ah, man.
I think they shoot from the hip. You know what I mean? Like, I think from a lot of the JKD guys that I've interacted with,
Yeah.
one of the things that I've noticed is that I don't think they have long-lasting school, or they only have like 3 members or something, because there's just no structure to it. It doesn't mean they need a belt or a ranking system necessarily.
Right.
But if there's no, like, all right, today we're going to do block, check, hit, or whatever, then next day we're going to do this. It's like totally, there's no structure.
There's many different examples.
Right.
There's some very successful guys, right? There's guys in New York that do really well.
Right.
I mean, there's guys probably all over the country that do really well. And I venture to think that they all have an organized curriculum. But I'll tell you something, right? I'll tell you something. And Dan Insano says this all the time. Jun Fan, the Jun Fan system, the Jun Fan martial arts system, right? Which for me is kickboxing, and then there's Jun Fan kickboxing, there's Jun Fan Kung Fu, which is influenced very heavily by Wing Chun, right? And then there's Jun Fan grappling, right? Which is influenced, for me, very heavily by Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, not so much by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right, no one talks about that.
In the beginning, right?
Yeah, interesting.
So, why am I telling you this?
I don't know, but it's very interesting. The structure.
Right. So Inosano says all the time that Jun Fan can be organized. Jeet Kune Do, however, cannot be. And he's right. You see, he's right.
What's the difference for some people who might be watching this and they're interested in Jeet Kune Do, but they may not know the full history? Like, what's the difference really between Jun Fan and Jeet Kune Do? Is there a difference?
For me,
Yeah.
in order to organize stuff in my own mind, and also to organize stuff in order to promote and perpetuate the art, yes,
Right.
there is. See, think of it this way, right? Everybody knows you go into even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you go into karate, you go into Taekwondo, everybody knows you got to start at the white belt and you got to move your way up the rank to the black belt and what have you, right? If we want to attract people, let's say your decision is that you want to make a living teaching Jeet Kune Do, right? Okay.
Hit the like button if you'd love to make a living teaching Jeet Kune Do.
Right? So now there are different approaches that you can use. You can convert into a more traditional approach and do belt this and belt that and what have you. And if that's your approach and it works for you, and you can sleep at night and you're not stealing money from people and you're not intentionally hurting people or whatever, then more power to you.
Right.
It's not my way, right? I I shouldn't say I've never used belts. We did use belts. We used belts for the little dragons.
Right, I remember that. Yes.
They're 4, 5, and 6 years old.
Right.
Right. Okay. And Ernie Reyes did. You know, he had a very nice package and what have you. Actually, my way around it. I mean, we modified a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
But the way that I reasoned in my head was that if anybody should be teaching a program called Little Dragon, should be us.
Oh, of course.
Because that's Bruce Lee's Hong Kong cinematic nickname.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
You know,
Someone actually mentioned that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if
Exactly.
anybody should teach the Little Dragon curriculum, it should be us.
Jeet Kune Do guys.
Right.
And gals.
But here's what happened at age 7. At age 7, when you joined Junior Jeet Kune Do, we were done
Out of there. Yeah.
with all that belt stuff.
Right.
And they went into the colored ranking system using the T-shirt.
Right.
Right? So it all depends. There's many approaches.
Right.
Anybody can use any approach that they want.
Yeah.
Right? But